Good evening, gentlemen.
Happy New Year.
Hi.
Happy New Year.
Happy Hanukkah and all other celebratory. Welcome to the new year.
Oh, is this our first?
No, we did one.
I don't know.
We did one. I'm sure we did.
I don't know.
Anyway, Happy New Year. We haven't said it already.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And what a year. It's going to be awesome. Man, oh man, there's
January
some stuff on the calendar.
Yes, I was having that discussion with my wife just a little while ago.
January the 8th. We have done a New Year one. January the 8th. It's just been
but
that
we
long
published
that
it?
it feels like it. No, we have not yet. But that's why it feels like it, because it's January the 8th.
It's like publishing Christmas. That was the Christmas one. No, that was published. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Better late than never.
Welcome back to the microphones, gentlemen. It's been a couple of weeks because we're hopeless at getting our gear in order. And Mark decided he wanted to go
Some of us
hunting.
have been away hunting and
Well, hopeless is still up there. That's all good. What's been going on? Let's not talk to Mark yet, because once we get him started, he won't be quiet. He's got lots.
Well, I was going to say the last one we published was the Christmas one, so this is.
What's going on, Jono?
Not much, to be honest. Back to work. Although my mind is starting to think about hunting trips for this year. I actually got asked, so what trips have you got planned for this year? And I started writing them down, and it was like, the list is getting longer. And
Can't
longer.
say that out loud in my house. I've got to sneak him onto the calendar.
Yeah, I've got to whisper too. No, it's the calendar's definitely filling up between. Yeah, we've got hunt camp. We've got the slam. We've got a couple meat trips planned. We've got another territory trip planned. The calendar is certainly filling up, and then I want to try and do some fishing as well. So
Tough.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, I need to go to work to recover from all the weekends away of hunting and fishing. So yeah, but no, I'm starting to think. My mind's starting to really think ahead now. Trying to plan out the calendar. I need to start getting to the range. Start, just getting mind tuned on to 2025. Just get ready. How about yourself?
We are like 3 weeks away from booking the rut
again.
That's it. We're back to midnights. 3 weeks from now, we'll be going through that chaos again of getting stuff booked for the rut. So we better not publish this for 3 weeks because we don't want to give anyone tips, right? But I think it might be out before then.
With our track record, it would be fine.
Yeah, that's right. We'll be right.
That's right.
Yes. Anyway, but yeah, it's crazy. I've already had 3 range trips to get rifles under control. I got Mark to throw the scope back on the BRX, which was great. Got that out there. Did the basic bench stuff, got it all dialed into a couple of 100 meters, hit a couple of gongs at 300. Didn't dial it into 300. I sort of had enough by then, and the rifle was getting a bit warm in the summer heat. So I left it alone. Went back the next time. Just redid my zeros at prone rather than off the bench. Quite interesting, isn't it, how you feel positions group quite differently. So, I redid my zeros at prone, checked my cold barrel, which is always important to make sure you know where it's going. But it was at least half an inch off the bench zero, which
Up
is
or
probably
down?
Down, which is not too bad. But good to know it because I'm trying to get a bit more precise.
Which means your head is lower, isn't it? So you put your head slightly lower, so you bring the rifle slightly down.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and prone at the range, it's not the best. You don't have heaps of room to spread out between the benches, but it's good to do it. And then spent the time dialing it into 300. So was getting the 300 groups pretty good, which is pretty much where I wanted to be. Get it all dialed in for 1, 2, and 3, so that I was ready to go. And so that's that bit done. And we did our trip that we spoke about down to Nundle to get some cameras out. And now I'm actually trying to get a sneaky long weekend back there. I'm starting to get obsessed already about where we're going to be hunting.
A new spot.
Well, not just a new spot. Well, I can't remember if I talked about this on the last podcast or not, but the old putting the trail cameras out, I peaked a bit early, if I want to use that as a phrase. I got the trail cameras out and deployed before I found the best hanging basin I thought I was ever going to find.
Yeah.
It was an amazing little spot, and I just wish I had more cameras. So I kind of want to go back and put some more down there, but I also want to do a little bit of just month by month checking to see what's showing up as well. It's a long way, but it's kind of worth it. We're going to put some good effort in.
You could, what's name? Hide your Starlink somewhere.
Can you imagine someone strike gold?
Well, you just got to hide it and bleep, you know?
Yeah. Well, I've now figured
there's
out
no signal, so you can't get the 4G ones. That'd be good.
Yeah. God, can you imagine? You would become very obsessed, wouldn't you? Bing, bing, bing. Work meeting.
All day,
bing, bing.
every day.
Excuse me, need to go bathroom. Go check your cameras. Back again. Yeah, it could be a bit nutty. But other than that, yeah, lots being planned. I'm going through gear. I'm getting the pack sorted out again. All the different things, and there's other little things like just getting the action cameras out, the Osmo and the GoPros and the other cameras, and just getting refamiliarized with them, because they can go a fair few months without drinks, and you forget all the settings. So you got to kind of get that stuff back under control again. Yeah, it's good. Can't wait. It's going to be so good.
Nice. It's going to be a good year, I think.
It's going to be a great year. Mark?
What about you, John? Anything other than boring work? Anything
No,
really
not really.
interesting?
Nothing really interesting, to be honest.
Fishing weather's a bit crap, isn't it?
Yes, I've been looking at the weather pretty much every day, trying to get out. I can see they've been getting some good fish, some good Spanish. I have no fish in the freezer at the moment. I could really do with some fresh fish, so I'm keeping an eye closely on the weather. I'm hoping to get a gap, although I was hoping to go Monday. Being a long weekend here, well, I suppose everywhere, but the weather forecast, the wind forecast has just changed. It looks like it's going to be pretty shit on Monday, with the only gap being Sunday, which is the only day of this weekend I cannot do. So, yeah.
It's just prevailing easterlies. That's all you're
and
going to. You're just going to eat it. That's all you're. That's it.
So been holding out to go up to, I suppose, up to Airlie, that sort of area with my good mate Adam as well, to go chase GTs, but just have not been able to get a gap in the weather. No. We've been hoping to go do a Fraser trip. We've been hoping to do a Noosa trip. We've been hoping to do, you name it, just haven't been able to get out with this wind. I'm either working and the wind's good, or I'm not working and the wind's terrible. One of those. It's pretty normal. So yes, I'll get a gap at some point.
Nope. Your fox jumped off the wall.
Oh, did he? There we go. He's trying to get away.
The quick brown fox did something.
Jumped over the lazy couch.
Yeah. Well, I'm going fishing next weekend, but we've found an awesome river that's well stocked with Murray cod. And,
wow.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
And
is that the one near you?
Yeah, surprisingly.
Wow.
Yep. So it's a kayak spot. It's away from the normal angler. The fish aren't anywhere near as precious or well trained or whatever you want to call it. And if you're just going with the kids, I took Zave down and taught him to use a kayak, and he's really proficient really quickly, which was great. And it's quite a wide river, so it's it's flowing, but it's not strong. You can easily paddle against it, and where you launch the canoes in, you can get around to where the good fishing is in about 15 of just gentle paddle. Go down, throw a rod, and for the kids, there's plenty carp. So you can catch fish and have fun, whether it's good fish or carp fish, and just have a good time. So yeah, super keen to do that. It's going to be next weekend, long weekend day.
Nice.
I'd like to catch a Murray cod this year.
Yeah, well, apparently this place has got plenty of them. It's a release site. It's a fingerling release site, so they have quite a few just hang around there. There's other places to go if you really want to have a wild adventure, but this is a great one just for an easy arvo on the kayaks. Yeah.
Very nice.
Sounds very cool.
Keep posted on that one.
Yes, please do.
All right.
Okay. I got lots to talk about.
Let's go. Let's talk about
other stuff. Or should we jump straight in it?
Is there other stuff? Have you got other stuff you want to cover?
Yeah,
first?
well, there is. How's Huntfit going?
Oh, so good. Really, really good.
Yep.
So what can I tell you? We had about 12 starters 2 weeks ago. And when you go through the setup process on Huntfit, we set a lot of goals just so you've got something to chase. There's a lot of metrics that we check first to make sure that we're giving you goals that are going to work or we think are going to work. And a lot of it's based on body mass percentages. So what we expect you're going to drop over a 6 to 10 week period. So everyone gets a 6 week goal and everyone gets an ultimate goal. Ultimate goal's exactly what it is. Where do you think you can go with this? Where would you like to go? And it's a big, hairy, audacious goal. It's not just this would be nice. It's like really push yourself to where you want to be, not where you hope to be. And so everyone gets that goal, and then everyone gets a 6 week goal. So of the starters, the 12 starters, they all got a 6 week goal. They're all into their 3rd week now, so they've just started their 3rd week. And all of them, I'm pretty sure all of them, I can almost hand on heart say that, are 3/4 of the way to their 6 week goal in 3 weeks. In 2 weeks, actually. In 2 weeks. Wow. So it happens a lot quicker. And those numbers are, anywhere from, there's half of them will be, they'll tick off 10 kilos in 6 weeks. Right, and the rest of them will be somewhere between 6 and 7 kilos over that 6 week period. Some of them have hit it already, amazingly. The ones you thought might not hit it, there's a fella that's on it. I won't name their names, but he's an older fella and he's a pretty tall, lean guy. And it's sometimes it's hard when you got big fellas that want to lose weight, and then you've got leaner guys that just want to lose a few kilos, and you think, oh, that's going to take a bit longer. He smashed it out of the park, this guy. Unbelievable to watch it, and he's so happy, all the energy that he's got, and he's lost 8 kilos or something, and he's nearly at his ultimate goal, which is just brilliant. So they're all happy, they're all hitting the numbers, and it's just proving to be such a great program. You always hope that when you encourage others to do what you're doing, that they get the result that you're getting, and it's not just you're a one-off, but every single person to a man is getting these results. So for me personally, it's been a massive change. I'm now pushing 35 kilos, lost since late August. I was just laughing today that I'm no longer, we all love these categories, but on a BMI scale, I'm no longer an obese man. I'm a happy overweight man. I've dropped out of that category, and I'm now fighting fit and ready for anything. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. We're pretty happy. So we'll keep you updated as to how it goes, but I'm in the tail end of what I'm doing, and willing to help as many people that want to jump on and shed some kilos and get a bit fitter. It's magic. It's really good.
Awesome. Well done, mate.
Yeah, happy to do this. That's Huntfit. If you're interested, hit us up. Go to the website, find the page, send us a message. I'll help you out.
There you go. Okay, so is there going to be some kind of Huntfit celebration? Is that part of what we're going to do?
There will be. Still kind of piecing half of that together.
Figuring out there what's going to look like?
Yeah. I mean, certainly there's going to be a hunt camp style event for the Huntfit participants. Cool. Will be, it'll be a bit more exclusive. And that'll be a celebration for the guys that go through the program. We'll help them out with that. There's a number of guys that have come on that have never taken a deer. So we're lucky enough to know some places that we can take some people to get a reasonable chance of shooting their first deer. Unless you're Hendo, you just can't shoot things. G'day, Hendo. It's all right. He'll have a laugh. So we'll be doing that, and for some we may go a little bit more epic than that. We'll see how it goes, but that's how that'll go. We may run a bit of a podcast around it a bit later on, but for now, it's all about their journey and just keeping them focused on that and achieving goals.
I mean, obviously people, it's their own personal journey, but I think it's a fantastic story too.
Oh, for sure.
The thing I've said on a couple of recordings outside of the podcast, because I've been interviewed along my journey as well, is I just can't believe that a program this simple, this effective, is not subsidized by Medicare of some description. They'll hand out prescription pills like lollies, but this is something that actually works. When you can say that 95% of the participants it's had absolute success with, what on earth? It's not that hard. It's totally different. They say it's simple, but it's not obvious. Is a phrase that they use quite a lot, because it's not your normal weight loss and fitness program. It's a little bit different when you get into it as to why it works, but it makes sense once you get your head around it. So anyway, like I said, if you're interested, here to give you a hand. Just sing out.
Okay. Hey, we were going to have a podcast. We were talking about a podcast with technology.
Yes.
I had this idea for something.
What was it going to be called?
Those beach.
We're going to call it.
I don't know. Those beach. Those beach carts you get from BCF. Well, I was actually, because when I was away and you're in the car driving, you think about all sorts of things, and I thought about Starlink, whatever it is, and I thought that's basically going to get rid of it. Once that's commonplace, you're not going to have GPSs or anything like that. You won't need those things anymore because you'll have constant, connection.
Still going to need GPS for location though.
Yeah, but not if you've got constant connection. What do you need GPS for?
Because it's still going to have location.
Yeah, so even your phone,
but the phone will be the GPS. If you can get constant signal, why would you need a GPS unit? Why wouldn't your phone just be the GPS?
Well, your phone is a GPS unit.
But I mean all the time.
It is all the time.
It is.
That's right. So what I'm saying is, but then you think about. So what I'm saying, like, this is the idea. Those beach carts you get from BCF. Imagine if you had one of them that electric motor.
Yeah, they're called
Starlink. No, yeah, and it had an esky in it. It was like esky on wheels. Yeah, and you were out hunting, and Starlink spoke through Starlink to that thing, and you go, "I shot a deer," and it leaves camp.
Oh, right, the little motorized esky comes and shows. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there it goes. Comes looking for you.
No. So let's just go back to the technology. Stuff exists. The ability to send some sort of autonomous thing to a GPS location. That stuff exists already.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. So if you're Starlink, though, you can do that. You don't need to be the military to do that. You could do that type of thing.
Yeah, that'd be drone instead of an esky, though, wouldn't you? When you just send it.
Well, no, there's drones that pick up the drones that come and pick up your deer and take it.
But what if you wanted to bring your stuff out? Like you go on, bring me a drink.
Hop on, I guess.
Yeah.
And
just get a little drone helicopter.
It's an esky, and so it's not an esky. It's a fridge because it's got power.
I like the way you think. It's a great idea.
It drives out, and it just
autonomous all-wheel drive esky coming.
That's right. It comes out to you, and you just go and you're butchering the animal, and you say all your butchering gear's in the box. So you come out, you butcher it, and you put it in there, and it freezes it, and it goes back to camp, and it's a little cradle, and it parks in the cradle with the solar power, so it keeps itself charged. Like a room, like one of those Romba vacuum cleaners, but it comes back into camp. Plugs it in.
You're halfway through butchering, it decides it runs out of batteries and it goes back to camp to charge. Is that what you're saying?
No.
We'll see in 3 hours.
You could override it, but that's the thing. It comes back. But when it goes back to camp, it goes back into a charge unit, so it's there ready waiting for your next one. You get comes out.
And back at camp, you've got a Jenny and a.
You don't need a car.
Had a bit of time in the car with a little bit of thinking time, buddy. Have we at the Pilliga?
Well, I was drive down and drive back. I was actually think about. So yeah, there was. Let's start. So what I did this time is like you guys, I wanted to go to Nundle, but there was just absolutely the weather was crap. Every time we went, it was just crap. So we decided let's go to the Pilliga, and so it was only a 2-day. We're only going to be hunting 2 full days. So arrive in the afternoon, hunt 2 full days, and leave the following
more than
morning.
We did.
So that's pretty quick for Pilliga. So I decided to approach it very differently. And so every morning with sunrise, I got up and I went for a walk. And I just walked the big tracks and glass. And every day I saw goats at like 800 meters. I went, okay, they're there. And I'd watch them, and I was watching them do goaty things, and they'd come out and then they just move. So they'd come out on the road and then they move off, and then I just follow them. And one day I just couldn't get close enough to them, so they were just always like 600, 700 meters away from me. And when they cut into the scrub, I followed them, but I lost them. Second day, I tried to get really close to them, and they busted me at about 100 meters, and they went back into the scrub. So I kept following them, and I found them again, and I managed to get one. But we combined that with the more kind of traditional, let's pick some points, and you drive the big Ks to various points, and so on and so forth. So I approached it very differently. It was really, really productive. But, man, there were some weird things this time around. One of them is that I saw a deer. I saw it when we were watching it, and I was madly trying to get the camera up, and I didn't get the camera up in time. It was about 600-700 meters away. We saw it just at the. We were coming down a hill, and it was at the bottom of the hill, and we were watching it. It was a young, say 2 to 3 year old fellow buck, so scrawny, pencily head, no real palms. No. But it was a fellow. We were watching him, and it came out, and it did that weird thing that deer often do. It reversed itself and went back the way it came. So we were watching it. So yeah, and we'd certainly had reports of deer there, but laid eyes on it, saw it for 5 minutes. The other weird thing was that we were driving along twice, and we could hear pigs. You could literally, so one, I think it was the first day we were there, we'd drive along pretty, just driving along, and you just heard this, like, and it was almost like it was asleep off the side of the road and went past the sound of the car, woke it up and scared it. It was like that kind of sound. And we jumped out, went looking for it, couldn't find it. And then another time we could actually hear, pretty sure we could hear them fighting. Could hear them, or maybe not. Maybe they weren't fighting. Maybe they were doing the other thing. Maybe they were making more piggies. But it was certainly multiple pigs making noise in the scrub. But that Pilliga scrub is so thick, you just can hear them, but you can't. You couldn't get to them. But that's never had that happen. And the other weird thing was that one of these days, one of the mornings when I was watching the goats. So what would happen, because there's young goats everywhere down at the moment. They've just obviously bred. So if you watch the road, what would happen was they come from where they're bedding, they come up to the road, they either walk along the road or they sit down on the road and then walk along the road, and then they go to the area where they're going, which I'm assuming is their watering area. So they basically use the road. And what would happen often, usually, was the little ones would come out first, and they'd be frolicking along the road, and then the bigger goats and bigger goats and bigger goats would come out, and then there'd be the whole mob sitting on the road, and you try and figure out how to follow them up. The second day that they came out, the weirdest thing happened was about half a dozen crows came out walking with the goats. They were walking out. And then the crows were literally by themselves, but not far away, but kind of by themselves, and the goats. And then the goats started walking off, and the crows literally went and started walking off after the goats.
Were they trying to pick off a young?
I don't know. I don't know if they were just because the goats were stirring up so much crap and they're stirring up food, or the crows opportunistically wait for some young thing to die, or what. But it was the weirdest thing. The crows literally came walking out, and they just hung back off the goats a bit, but they were just following the goats. Never seen that before. I have no idea. But it was a weird thing to watch. And it was at distance. So my camera, I didn't have a big camera. I had my smaller camera. I couldn't pick it up. But I was watching them through the binos. And they just came out. And they were just with them. And then they just wander off. And so basically that's what the goats were doing every day. They would come out and either walk up the road, straight walk, the one morning they sat down on the road for a while, and that's when I tried to get real close to them. But the first morning they just came out and they just used the road as a road, and then they just cut off to the water. And for those who are thinking about going down to Pilliga to hunt, what I found was the goats came out generally pretty high up and then went down to the next level area where the water was holding up. So when they came out of the scrub, they often came up near the top of the hill, and I think it had something to do with the sun being there first. So they'd sit there, or they wouldn't sit. They just kind of mull around for a bit, and then they'd go down. And the roads are basically large undulations. They'd go down to where the low point and they'd go off, and they'd fight, and they usually went off on the greater scrapes. So the greater scrapes always had the sign where they cut across. They cut over the greater scrape, follow it in until it ended, and then they'd go in the scrub.
And that's resistance.
Yeah. That's what I try to do every morning. I try to follow them. And I said I caught up with them one day, but the first day they were just too far ahead. Out there, you can see a couple of K. You can see them. and there's lots of them. But then we got caught in that storm on the Wednesday, but we were fine. That just came through. We got the camp set up in time. So we rode that out. And then the next morning it was a little bit cooler and quite sunny. And then on Friday at around midday, the weather changed and this prevailing easterly came in, and that was it. Everything went flat. As soon as that easterly came in, everything went flat. And the next day on the way out, we spotted some goats, and they were right against the edge of the road with their back to the easterly. They were, again, different behaviour again this time with that. So they were basically had a large tree screen behind them, and they were butt up against that large tree screen, keeping out of that. It was supposed to be a southeasterly, but to me it seemed to be almost prevailing easterly, and they got out of that and stayed out of that. But on the road, because you can't shoot on the road, unfortunately, But one morning, a fox came out and it was sniffing where the goats had been, and then it went in. I was watching it, and it picked up the scent, and it went quite quickly. So the goats must have been staying down in their bedding area with that easterly coming in. So that wind really did play a big part on their behaviour. Saw pigs, didn't get a really good chance on a pig. I saw a really big boy just straight across the road in front of us. Saw a couple of others, didn't get a great chance on them. But saw game basically like when you hunt the pilliga, you do a lot of Ks, but generally, well, not constantly, but very regularly saw game. We saw the most game we saw, though, we started joking, the conservation systems. The conservation zones are doing a really good job of helping goats get up in high numbers because every conservation zone full of goats. Full of goats. That little video got, we hit that one. 5 minutes later, another mob ran across the track. When we're coming out of Pilliga West, saw 2 mobs in the conservation zone. We boarded an exclusion zone that was thinning, and of course the goats were in the thinning area. They were in there because they love that stuff. And the deer was on the border of a conservation zone. So we saw so much game, but a lot of it was in no shoot area.
They know where they're safe.
Yeah, well done. Maybe
Do you think that's it? Do you think that's?
Don't know. I know that.
It's no pressure.
I know they love the thinning areas because pick that they can't get is all of a sudden laying on the ground. I know they love that stuff. Actually, the first goat I ever shot in Pilliga was in an area that had been opened up for hunting again that had been thinned, and they'd opened it up, and that literally the goats were kind of on the fallen trees eating. And a few years later, down in Pilliga West, we sort of had the same kind of thing happen where they'd thinned an area and it had been reopened for hunting, and the goats were still on all the fallen trees and stuff. They'd love getting at that stuff. But plenty of water everywhere. Actually, we had rain, a reasonable amount of rain on the first day, and a couple of, not showers, but had a little bit of rain, actually. Except for the day. We had rain almost every day. We didn't have rain on the way out. So there's water everywhere. The dams are full of water. The creeks are full of water. Every second grader scrape has got water in it, and it's got a pig wallow in it.
Wow.
The game is blowing up down there.
Did you get across the highway to the other side, to the eastern side?
No, didn't even bother.
I was curious whether that river was up.
Didn't even bother crossing over. And along with the goats and pigs, the roos population was pretty big. Emus were everywhere. I don't know if you notice, nearly every time I go to the Pilliga, there's a different type of bird that's in abundance when you go down. And it was a different bird again. I'm still trying to really identify what it is. And it was feeding on cicadas. The thing was going after the cicadas.
Was enough of them in the Pilliga?
Yeah, well, that's what these birds were just in the scrub going after cicadas. So a different type of bird again. Just trying to got some notes.
So you said numbers were higher than normal. I mean, you can go to the Pilliga sometimes and you can scratch around looking for for animals a bit this time you're seeing abundance?
It actually reminded me of the first couple of times we went to the first couple of times we just shot truckloads of animals. And then it's funny, I think it's got something to do with the fact that the conditions are so good, they're so dispersed.
Yeah.
Back in late, 2018 to 220, or even before that, if you sat on a dam, you could do that as an approach. You could go to a dam, sit on a dam, and eventually the animals would come to that dam. Now, they don't need to. They don't need to. So they still do go to dams, obviously, because they won't not go. But, like I've got a video of an emu just on the 20-foot. There's a puddle and the emu's just drinking out of the puddle.
Yeah, it's different when they've got easy access to water.
That's it. They're drinking out of a puddle. You'll see roadside puddles and you'll just see prints all around it. They'll just go, there it is there.
Come in and drink.
That's it. So they don't need to do those big dams. So, and they reckon we're going to have plenty more of this wet before it ends up. So I think certainly the numbers are breeding up. It's that they're just a bit more dispersed. Once the hot weather, the dry weather comes back again, they'll start concentrating them again.
You obviously shot a nice billy. We saw the photos of the billy as they came through.
It was a bugger. He was a bugger to get out. He was a bugger to get out because those hooks, they hooked everything,
Just dragged on, yeah.
It was like an anchor. It just catching on everything. That's when I needed my electric autonomous cart to come out now.
Oh, that's where it comes from. Did the other fellas get on to animals?
No, they certainly had their chances. Well, we only had Graham was with us. He wasn't hunting. He's in process of, and Tim certainly had a chance, but didn't convert. But yeah, I got one goat in Pilliga West and one goat in Pilliga East.
Yep.
Okay. And the Pilliga West, we were all together, and I managed to snag that one in Pilliga East. That was one of the super early morning ones. I just get up with dawn and just walk out of camp and just walk into the wind and start glassing.
Okay, so let's talk about that a bit more. I know you talked about the goats coming in from the high point, coming down towards water. For most that have been to the Pilliga, they'll go, what the hell are you talking about? It's flat.
Yeah.
Please explain, because especially over on the Swages Bore side, in my memory banks, and I know there's more to it than that, but in my memory banks, the only time that there's undulation is when you go through a graded spoon drain that's been put across the road for water drainage, but there doesn't seem to be lots of natural high points. So that description is a bit strange to me. Talk a bit more about that.
Well, like everything, it's, it isn't flat. It's just that it's not severe, like, it's not 1,300 meters like Nundle. It's not flat. The ground, especially, and actually on the Swages Bore end, you do get, so if you were to, it's hard to explain, but you can't look down that road for, 10 kilometers because it has slow rises and slow falls. And it's enough. So and if you walk it, you realise very much so. You got slow rises and slow falls. If you're driving along it, there's no problem. Or even if you're at Swages Bore and you think about going down to the mill, that does drop down. When you're coming in on Forest Way, it's not so noticeable. But again, there's Bill's Hill, and it might only be 20, 40 metres. It might be only one or two contour lines, but there is undulations in that in those areas. And so those undulations, the water goes down, as it all must do. And, usually there's a road track crossing, and on either side there's either water or it leads to water somewhere. And that's what they do. So they're coming out of the higher points. So if you think about Swages Bore Road heading west, so you're going to use it to drive out of the Pilliga, you go up and it goes down, and it actually does that 3 or 4 times before you get to the, I think it's Pickaxe Handle Road. that's the boundary line, and it does. It's slow undulations. It's not a hill climb, but it's enough for there to be a higher point and a lower point.
Yeah,
and there's so many.
And everything. Most of the roads, if you're hunting the Pilliga, I think what I've learnt is that because the layout is primarily east to west, comes off the Newell and it goes west. The wind, and because you kind of driving, you're going, okay, we're going to check out these 5 dams, and they're dispersed all over the place, and you're going to go, well, we're going to trek up these 5 points, and you're driving. You tend to not think about the wind, but when you get there, if you don't approach it the right way, as soon as you get out of the car, you go, oh, well, the wind's completely crap here. So it does play a part. It's just that it's everything's a little bit more subtle because it's so big. And it's not, it's not like Nundle. It's not huge drops. I mean, we were looking at that map at Nundle, or specifically Tugela, it went from 1,100 to 600 off a cliff.
Yeah.
Pilliga might only move 20, 40, might be 1 or 2 contour lines, but they're there. I mean, there is, like when you go down Danga Road, you come down to the dam, you are above it. It does drop down. Strange enough, at Danga Road, there's a dam and there's rocks. And when we went up the rocks, we found someone had shot a goat up there. We found the shot goat. And there was, we saw those guys, if they're listening, they might be listening. We saw them on the way out. They were camped near Danga Road. So,
right.
Yeah. It's there. It's just more subtle.
Yeah, no, I understand that. It was just the description I wanted to get right. And your hunt strategy, and we've talked about that on other podcasts as well. This one, did much change, or it really was poke your nose into the wind in the most, easy, accessible way? So if you've got roads going in different directions, you're just going to poke into the wind, wander down the road, and do your best is pretty much what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, as I said, I had almost like 2 very different approaches. I had an early morning approach, which is get up at dawn and get out and see what I could see, and use that ability to see at some distance if there was any movement. And sure enough, every morning I spotted movement. And then when I came back to camp, I'd be back in camp by 7:30, and we go, okay, where are we going to go? Okay, so we're going to go Pilliga West. What are we going to look at? And plotted it out and jumped in the car and did the 170, 180 Ks that day. Because, Pilliga West, which is the smaller forest, is still a significant chunk of dirt. And again, when we came into Pilliga West, we went, okay, it's prevailing southerly this morning or today. Let's go in from the top and work our way into that. So always looking at those blocks about how can we work into them into the wind. Found some ridiculously piggy places over in Pilliga West, like holy moly.
And
not
rifle. Rifle of choice this time, but you didn't take the Chapuis this time. You took the.
No, I took the India. Took the which is the custom CDR. I'm going to try and carry that most of the year this year, except for when we go to the territory. But I'm thinking I want to carry that one for the year. I really do like that rifle. Yeah. So it was the CDR and the 308 with the big box mag and the custom stock, and it's got a Ranger 4 scope on it with the illuminated reticle. It's perfect for that kind of thing. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like a great trip. Any other learnings that you brought out of it this time? Any gear changes or things that you'd care to share?
Well, I went down with friends, and Graham's got a camper trailer, and I must admit it's a pretty pleasant thing to travel with a camper trailer.
It is good, yes.
Because so once the storm hit, when we had the batwing style awning up, and then we had the sides of it, so we were in quite dark. We were in dark, but we weren't getting wet at all, because they come right to the ground, so it's quite dark in there. Tim was in a tent. Graham was actually in a swag inside the batwing, and I was going to just sleep on the stretcher, but the mozzies came in really fiercely. He has got one of those rooftop things. It's like
rooftop tent?
Four-person rooftop thing with a hard
Four-person
mattress. Yeah, it's massive. So
was it a highest van or something?
It's on its camper trailer itself, you know. So
awesome.
Got, yeah, I stayed in that thing. It's fantastic. Had all my gear in there. That's why I was so ready to go hunt in the morning. All my gear was there. I just got dressed, put stuff down, came down the ladder, walked straight out of camp. No, I couldn't stand up in it, but other than that, it was pretty spectacular up there. I'd never slept in one, and big double mattress. It was just wonderful. That was a big thing of, don't get used to this. Don't get used to this. Don't get soft. Don't get soft.
Nothing wrong with a comfy camp, Mark. Nothing wrong with it.
Not at all. No, I want to stay sharp.
Nothing wrong with having some creature comforts.
Yes, but then there's some. I think the question about creature comforts is when do they become more than when is that line crossed?
Oh well.
When do you need another? When do you need a support vehicle to support your support vehicles?
Yeah, I mean, time and place. I don't think just because you're out there hunting animals that you have to be totally primitive. Comfy campers, it helps you recharge, it helps you sleep well, and it helps you get up again at 4 o'clock in the morning. Hunt camp is a good example of that. Being able to come back in the wet and the cold and the crap to a warm, dry, sometimes depending on the camp year environment, where you can, stand up,
light the fire,
dry out, stay out of the wind. And in last year's case, we couldn't even dodge leeches, sadly. But you look at the territory. If you want to stay sharp, that'll be okay. We'll leave you over in the corner with your jet boil in your tent. And every now and then, when you want a beer from the fridge that's plugged into the batteries, you're welcome to come and get one. But comfort's okay; it's allowed.
Yes. I'm in two minds about it.
Fair enough.
I am two minds about it, and I think there's I'm not sure what the line is, because the territory is a good idea. Because I slept in a tent in the territory.
Yes, yeah. And right next to all the facilities, the shower.
Yeah, but the facilities were, the shower was basically a glorified bucket.
Oh, easy. Spent $50 on that shower.
Yeah, no, I bought one. I got one. And I even bought the one that you suggested so we could support the Australian company.
Yeah, good job.
I have one of those.
I've noticed you get them on TV.
That's right. Well, you get them everywhere. And I mean, and the majority of the refrigeration in the territory was for meat.
Yeah.
It's important.
It wasn't for. Well, it wasn't.
Well, as the beer went down, it filled up with.
Well,
meat.
I mean, that was you guys, not me. I didn't drink anything, so. Yeah. Because we went to the territory without that stuff, and there's no doubt it was more difficult, but it was more. I think as I said, I'm not 100% sure on it all. I've always liked having a fairly simple camp.
Yeah, fair enough. Got anything to add to that, Jono?
I like my camper trailer. I like my comforts. I don't mind going swagging every so often, but if I can take the camper, I'll take it. I'll at least have one in camp just to have gas stoves and fridges and batteries, and it's nice to have sometimes, especially with the family. If you're camping with the family, it's great. It's really good to have.
Yeah, I think also if you're running a really quick weekend scout trip, something like that, I could certainly see that being a much easier option. But when you're doing week long things with multiple people involved, it's handy.
Yeah, well, like when we did that Nundle trip recently, I didn't take the camper. There were two campers there, but I didn't take mine. And, we made it as more of a shared camp, which typically we do anyway. But a week-long hunt camp for instance, last year we had my camper trailer and your camper trailer, and we joined the annexes together. So we had a huge area, and we had a dry space, a dry roof over your head. The floor got pretty muddy by the end of the week with the amount of water coming through. But we had 20 people in there. We had the ranger come in. It was a great little communal area. On the colder nights, we get the fire going, could dry your gear and warm up. It was great. It's lovely.
Yeah. I think, like I say, it's good for the communal space for people to come and share. Yeah, we'll see. I'm certainly going to make a few changes for this coming year, and I'm just going to start with location, of course, but we'll try and keep the floor dry this time. It became a quagmire last time. That was ugly.
It was.
That's all right. All good. Anything else, Mark? Read the pillar?
Just saying, water. No, I was just thinking, you can do the trifecta now in the Pelago. You can hunt deer, goat, and pig.
Yeah.
You could. You need those numbers to come up. That's all.
You could do a slam in the Pelago.
Pelago slam. Do you get bonus points if you get the princess?
Well.
Or the yowie?
Last time we were down there, we met a cryptobiologist, maybe. They're the people who look for the yowie.
They're called a cryptobiologist.
I think so. It's something like that.
It's not the what is it? The Trump coin or something?
It's not cryptocurrency.
Or the Stargate coin. You see what that did? Man, oh man. Trump did better. Whatever it was, I was talking to Endo about that today, about how many billions of dollars that's being made.
A cryptobiologist is a person who studies cryptids, which are creatures that are subject to myth.
There you go.
Yeah, cryptozoology.
That's it. And
it's a pseudoscience.
That was actually a term I was trying to think, cryptozoologist.
Yeah, it's a pseudoscience.
That's the one they use. So Graham met a guy down there who was staying with his son because they were looking for the yowie.
Cool.
And they said the night before they'd heard stuff and we're sure he's around here.
Well, Ian can
and
show
I really got
thinking
about that because I've been hunting the Pilliga since 2009, and I've met a number of people, and you tell them you go in there, and they kind of go, "Really, you going there?" And you and I said, "Yeah," and they go, "Oh, when I was in there, I heard this or I saw this strange thing." The only thing I've seen strange is bloody crows working with goats
and a dot matrix printer.
And printers. So I don't know. I've never experienced the weirdness of the Pilliga. It just seems to be I go there and I sleep like a baby. I just kidding.
I don't know. Ian found a track that he thought could probably be studied by one of these cryptozoologists, didn't you? Ian?
No. I did take a video of what looked like a very giant foot, and I'll post it again just because. It's fun, but there's absolutely no way it was a footprint. And I say that because it was just an outline that looked perfectly like a Bigfoot. However it was made, I have no idea. It had nothing to do with me. I just found the shape, but there was no depression in it, so it wasn't it can't have been a foot. It just looked like a foot. It was pretty cool looking, and there were two of them. One in front of the other, which was, just as freaky. But, if there's a foot, the whole thing's depressed. This one was just the outline edge had been drawn. That's what it looked like, but it was funny. Do I think there's yowies in there? Do I want there to be yowies in there? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, I want that shit to be around.
There's yowies. There's a princess who's a ghost.
So we've got ghosts and we've got fictitious beasts, yeah.
And we've got, and I believe something to do with Jimmy Governor's there's something to do with either his ghost or a vengeful spirit or something like that to do with Jimmy Governor in there as well. And then there's the Min lights, the mysterious lights. That's in there. I haven't seen any of it. I'm kind of disappointed.
What's a bunyip?
A bunyip is another mythical.
A bunyip's more of a monster.
Yeah.
That hides in water and comes up and...
Oh, okay.
which sounds awfully like a crocodile if you think about it.
Has really big teeth and a big nose.
Does it?
Big long nose.
Yeah, that sounds like a crocodile. Oh, yeah. So I don't think there's any bunyips down there.
Apparently, I said yowies, bunyips, and mysterious tales from the Pilliga Forest.
Oh, okay. Bunyips.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, there's lots of myth going on in there.
Yeah, there is. As I said, I haven't seen any of it. It's a little bit. I did once see something that I couldn't figure out until I read about it and realised it was beekeepers.
Oh yeah.
What they used to do is they'd dig a kind of slit trench and they put timber over it and they'd just leave a little gap in the timber, and so the bees would fly in, go in it. So it was dark water in the ground. And I saw these things. I went, what is that? That makes no sense at all. It's not like a footing or something like that. Yeah, it's a water catch for bees. Yeah.
There's some interesting things. When I first saw those, I thought they were had something to do with mines, or sluice boxes or something like that. But it turns out they were big.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out what they were because they weren't big enough. They didn't seem big enough to be anything industrial, but they were obviously designed for a particular reason. You found saw lots of windmills and old water tanks and stuff like that. There's always you come across those throughout Pilliga. But no yowies. But this cryptozoologist reckons that because they're quite possibly interdimensional creatures, that's why you can't see them. They kind of blip in and blip out.
Awesome.
So
kind of like your money if you invest in crypto. It blips in and then it blips out.
All right, that's the Pilliga. Glad you had a good time.
Yep.
Shame you didn't get to Nundle.
It was a really
sounds like you had a great time.
Really good trip.
I think we're going to have to go, Ian.
Yeah, I would like to spend...
Let's just find a spot and do that.
I'd like to spend a week down there.
Sure. I'll find a gap in my calendar and we'll book it in.
That's it.
All right. Hey, I got a question for you. I'll change the subject. Had a long chat with one of our listeners the other day. And yeah, he rang and he said, I got a bunch of questions I want to ask you, but I don't want to ask them on your website and bore everyone. So I rang him. We had a good chat. But one of the questions that came out of our discussion was around choosing your sites based on historical sightings, I guess. So if you've been to your favourite hunting spot in winter or in the rut, and there's rut pads and there's bucks and they're chasing fellow does and all that sort of stuff, that's great. Do you go back to the same spot in summer? Do you expect to find animals in the same place during the rut as you do during the summertime? And depending on your answer, which I'm going to preload right now, as it would be quite a different experience between seasons. No, let's just answer the first question. Let's go back to the first question, which is, are you habitual when it comes to your hunting spots, regardless of the season, or do you approach things differently? Discuss.
Go.
Jono.
I'm habitual for me. If I find an area that I like and I've had good luck in it, I'll always go and check it out again. That's just me. I'm a very routine person, but I am habitual. I like to go back to the same place because I find if I go back and I have had good luck there or I've seen sign, every time I go back, I'm learning more about it. And then when I go back in April, I've got more knowledge, more intel about, I might find a different way in, a different way out. I might approach it slightly different. I might find something slightly different. So I do like to go back to the same place. For me, do I like to explore areas? Absolutely. But if I book into Nundle, I'll go down into my favorite little gully and go and have a look on every trip.
Yeah. So just to hone in on the question a bit more, I'm the same. I like to go and back into the places that I'm going, like the places that I like to hunt. I go back to time and time again. But outside of the rut, I'm not going there with the same expectations of finding animals. I'm going there with the idea of seeing what the regrowth's doing, to see whether my viewpoints are right, to see whether my shooting arcs are still there, to see what maintenance I might need to do in my spots when I go back, pre-rut checking or the first day of being back in a hunt camp type scenario, which is kind of what you're describing. You're going back because you're checking it out for the future rut. Are you expecting still to find that to be the habitat where the does are that were there in winter? Or are you, like, what are you seeing? Are you normally seeing animals all year round in the same spot, or do you find they move on?
No, I find, especially does, bucks, yes, definitely move on. I find does stick to maybe not the exact area, but a similar. They don't seem to have a very large range. I find, and game cams prove this. That's why we put them up to try and prove that behavior. I find, the reason why the bucks are coming in there is because that's where the does are. The does aren't traveling huge distances. I don't believe they haven't got a huge home range. So I think you're going to find does in the same area, and that's why those bucks are coming in and they're coming back year after year.
Yeah.
Find the does, you're going to find the bucks, in my view.
Yeah, I agree with that. In the rut, and it's a good point about the trail cams. We have seen family units throughout an entire season coming through the same area all season. Yeah. The bucks obviously disappear. Yeah. Mark, do you got anything to add to that?
I'm behaviourally habitual, but not geographically. I try to, whenever I hunt, I'm thinking about behaviour of the animals and then trying to think, okay, why are they here? And where are other places like here that I can see? If you remember, Jono, when we were hunting the territory, I said, I don't want to go across that river because I was there yesterday and I never like going back to the same place twice. Mm-hmm. And that place kept on producing, went there 3 days. But I do not like doing that at all. I actually don't like doing it. What I'm trying to do, because my fear is that you'll disrupt that behaviour. Mm-hmm. So it'll move. So what I want to do, that again, this Pilliga trip was a great example where I've never done what I did, and I started to seeing different behaviour, and I went, okay, so that's what they're doing. So where else are they doing that? So I always want to try and find the places where I've seen a behaviour, and I think, okay, that behaviour is both reflective of the animal and the environment it finds itself in. So I want to know where else has that been reflective. And the reason I do that ultimately is because public land hunting, I'm not the only person who's going to walk. So every hunting hole you find in public land hunting, someone else already knows about it. And so when you're not there, that, family that you've been watching on trail cam,
my spot
stacked. That's right. And then that's it. So that's it. I'm always, and I mean, and of course you do use your memory, kind of go, well, like last time I was there, but I kind of go, last time I was there, what was about there that worked there? Mm. So that's what it is. I try to very much about animal behaviour. See, on the private blocks I hunt, I can be a little bit habitual because, well, technically I'm the only person on there. I know there is other people going there, but technically I'm the only person on there. So, if I see a deer in a location, there won't be another person behind me who's going to, who might push it off. I can kind of go, oh, there's deer there. I'll just back out and remember that is. That's why I don't try to be too habitual when it comes to animals. But I certainly want to look at behaviour and say, okay, why is that happening? And then see how that behaviour is replicated.
Very good. Asked and answered. What else we got?
And then just to close on that, that's why I always reckon check out rocks.
For goats, definitely.
Yeah. It's a behavioural thing. It's not like, they like that rock. No, they like rocks. Mm. So if you see rocks, go to rocks because they just like them. So that's kind of the rule for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough.
That's right.
No, that's fine. I kind of half agree when I think I totally agree with the don't go back to the same place, especially during the rut. One of the conversations we had was, do you scout when you get there? What if you haven't had the chance to pre-scout? Like, what are you going to do? Getting down into those creek areas, those native creek areas to find rubs and scrapes and things like that. It's really, the last thing you want to be doing in the week of the rut. Because you go poke down in there, drop your centre everywhere, you're pretty much not going to see anything pop back into that area for a couple of days. If you've only got a couple of days, you've just blown your spot. You're best off finding it from a distance and watching over it and going and scenting the whole joint up. So that's really important. I think pre-scouting is really important. And, finding spots that you can go back to year on year becomes something that certainly works in your favour after time.
Because, if you think about it, you said you found a new spot.
Yeah.
But that new spot, I'm assuming the reason that new spot resonates with you is because it reflects things that you've seen before in other areas that have equated to deer.
Yep.
So you're going, over there was this gully and, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's full of deer. Here's another gully that's just like that last gully, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm assuming that it's going to be full of deer. And when you went in there, you went, in fact, it might be full of deer.
Yep.
So it's the what you're looking there is the the repetitiveness of the behaviour rather than just the location.
Yeah. Some of these spots, eastern facing, going to get the first light, sheltered from the wind, good feed, good water source, private, quiet. It's a really nice, safe little spot. It's away from roads. It's got all of the things that you would want if you were a grazing animal, and good access in and out if you want to do that as well. So they're the things I look for. But yeah, there were some of the questions that got asked, and I think it was just worth touching on those. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
for sure.
Any other questions?
Not questions, no. Not that I've recorded anyway. The only other thing I was going to mention is that our merch page is getting an update right now. So all the T-shirt styles are up and the hoodies are up as well. So go and check them out. We've already had quite a large volume of orders go through, which has been well received. And thank you to everybody that's bought some merch off the page. It really helps us out. Go and have a look. There's some pretty cool shirts that are up there now. The hoodies, it's not winter yet, but they're a really nice fit, and they're a really thick wintry hoodie, which is perfect for sitting around campfires. So you'll enjoy the quality of them. And then in the next couple of weeks, you'll see a few more items go up. Caps will go up. A few more caps will go up, as will some waterproof jackets, soft shell jackets, and things like that. So yeah, keep an eye out. It's starting to fall into place.
Awesome.
So you're saying that's going up as we speak?
Yeah, it'll be probably live tomorrow by the time I hit the go button on the
got some t-shirts. But I saw the new hoodie stuff come in a little bit before.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah, they're great.
I think that's it for me.
Cool. Awesome.
Anything else, Jono?
No, nothing for me, mate. I think we've covered it all for tonight.
Awesome. Well, we'll sign it off there. Thanks for the update on the Pilliga. Glad you had a good trip.
Yeah.
Kind of got to find room in the calendar to do it myself again.
Yeah,
me too.
And I'd like to spend a lot of time down there if I could. But I want to try and put another longer trip together.
All right. You think about that. Chat to you about it next time.
Okay, guys.
Cool.
Thanks, gents. See ya.
See you.